What's up, everyone? Welcome to the X3 bonus episode. Today I'm going to be showing off some of the things that could have happened but didn't during the main playthrough as the result of my choices in the main playthrough. This boss fight happens to be the consequence of one of those choices or lack thereof. The way you access this boss is you have to beat, I believe this one you have to beat both Bit and Bite using their weaknesses. Bit's weakness is to the Frost Shield. You have to kill him with the Frost Shield in order to destroy him permanently, then he doesn't show up here. And then you also have to destroy Bite with his weakness, which is to the Ray Splasher. And destroying the both of them with their weaknesses means that they don't show up, they can't do the fusion dance, they can't turn into God Car Machine, O, and Ari. And you fight this guy instead, who's actually a pretty interesting boss in his own right. So he has two phases to the fight. The first phase, you notice I'm not doing too much damage to him, but I am intermittently hitting that long little snout of his, and the chute up there is moving independently of him. So the chute is dropping down one of two things. It's either dropping a large heap of compacted, cubized metal. Don't know if I just made a word up or not. And it's really not a big deal. You can use it as a platform, but it mostly just absorbs a lot of your fire if you miss time shooting while it's dropping that cube down. And then the other thing it drops down in the first phase of the fight are little robots that look like the robots on the conveyor belts from Flame Mammoth's stage back in X1, and they shoot little bolts of plasma at you. And then while that thing is dropping one of those two things intermittently at you, you also have to deal with the fact that in the first phase the boss is splashing acid on the floor, which limits your mobility, and then he's also doing his claw attack less frequently in the first phase. Once you destroy the snout, this phase is initiated. He floods the floor with toxic water, toxic waste, something to that effect, and he starts doing his claw machine grab a little bit more frequently, and you also have to avoid that while staying on the wall the entire time to avoid damage from the floor, and you're also avoiding whatever the chute is dropping down at you. So it actually makes for kind of a weirdly complex fight, even though it looks a little less complex on the surface. It's a pretty fun fight. I have a hard time not taking damage during it. The hardest thing is that in Phase 2, you're constantly having to dash off the wall once the chute is in a position where it can drop right on top of you, even if you're sliding down the wall, and sometimes you can just dash right into his clutches. This boss is way less interesting. This is the boss that results from your choice of how you go about taking care of Vile, if you do so at all. If you destroy Vile in his factory stage, which is hidden in one of 3 of the 8 Mavericks rooms, I believe it was Crushed Crawfish, Volt Catfish, and Blizzard Buffalo all have teleporters to Vile's hidden factory stage. If you take care of Vile with his weakness, or weaknesses, I should say, then this is the boss that appears instead of the Vile refight. Vile's weaknesses, I think, are his carrier is weak to the spinning blade, which you get from Crushed Crawfish, and his main body is weak to, his main body is weak to the Ray Splasher as well, just like Bites. So there's really nothing to say about that boss fight. He occasionally shoots very slow-moving missiles in a giant water-filled arena, and it's boring to dodge them. And then he kind of does a little boomerang maneuver with his pincer, and that is also very easy to dodge. Those are the only two things he does. So we'll move on to the way that the stage that we actually just fought that boss in, changes as a result of having the junk robot boss initiated by destroying Bit and Bite with their weaknesses way back then. That also changes the way Stage 2 is laid out. You see there were different enemy layouts from before, and there's also this chamber filled with water. And if you remember the last time that we were in this room, this chamber was dry as a bone. That's really the only significant addition here. This room, however, this is an important room. This is the only time Zero can enter a boss door in the entire game, so you want to select him, and this is how we're going to get another hidden item in the game. And this is also long before Zero's legendary meltdown in X4, which gifted the world with one of the most hilariously awful and infinitely quotable speeches of all time. This, right here, is how the illusion that Zero is actually a cool character was shattered forever. Zero is incapacitated because a robotic mosquito the size of a small Reliant Robin made a slow emergency landing right on top of him as he made no attempt whatsoever to escape. Also, note this is yet another way Zero gets out of doing any work. It's Reploid disability. Like, he got whiplash fighting the mosquito or something. He fights a half-assed mini-boss, does nothing else all game long, and then it's, "Oh, X, this has done so much damage, and no, you wouldn't believe the emotional trauma it caused. I think the mosquito might have been my cousin or something. It's all very complicated. Anyway, though, you've got this, right? I mean, I'd like to help you, you know, fight the Mavericks and stuff, but, my neck. It's just in so much pain. Oh, can you pick me up some chips while you're out saving the world?" But hey, he gives us this sweet beam saber, so guess we'll just ignore how dumb that was. Next up is something even dumber. So without Zero around to deliver the vaccine via beam saber to the face, this is the alternate way this plays out. With Dr. Doppler, the brilliant scientist, the genius, committing suicide because he could not find a method of delivering his miraculous vaccine, which doesn't even work, by attempting to bear hug a wireframe Sigma. Why did this vaccine result in Doppler's death? Why did he have to do it this way? Why couldn't he find a better way of vaccinating Sigma? And again, how? I don't understand any of what goes on here. Because they explode. Does that count as a vaccination? Also, with X in possession of Zero's beam saber, which is the only way that you can get that ending, why didn't X just do the vaccination? Am I taking the word vaccination in this context too literally? Maybe that's why Zero, if you get to this point with Zero still alive, dashes away in Sigma's final stage to get the upgrade last minute. But then why didn't Doppler just give it to X if Zero was out of commission? Anyway, that's it for all of the extra content in X3. Thank you guys for watching. Take it easy. Have a good one.